Chicken noodle code.
Welcome back to this tutorial. We're going to actually add a texture that has custom graphics on it, especially logos and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I don't have access to Photoshop right now, but there's a workaround which kind of works in the browser. If we're going to go to photopea.com, which is like Photoshop but in the browser, I can say open from computer. I'm going to click on downloads, desktop, spaceship, new PNG. There is my texture. And so what I kind of want to do is to bring in something custom, like some metallic stainless steel texture. So let's try to find some cool textures. Stainless steel texture. And there's a ton of options here on just on Google. This is Vecteezy. This might be or licensable. I'm not sure. Maybe something that's scratchy. That's too scratchy. This looks kind of cool. A little bit of reflection. Textures for Photoshop. That sounds good. Let's see what else they have on their website. Visit, high quality texture. Download. Oh no, so many ads. Let's click downloads. I'm not a robot. All images are free for personal and commercial use. Awesome. And I click the download button. So now I have this JPEG, which looks like that. I'm going to bring it into the Photopea website, aka Photoshop ripoff in the browser. I'm going to say File, Open. And this was in downloads. Boop. Reflective material. So usually I guess I could have dragged it in. I'm most likely into the correct file, but I'm just gonna say select A, Control X. Wait, it didn't work. Control X to cut out. So I'm gonna close this. Yes, I want to close it, and then I'll paste this in. Now I'm putting this behind the background layer, and then maybe want to resize this a little bit. Control T does not work. Transform controls just by zooming out. It's quite large, and I'm going to resize this, holding the Shift key to constrain the aspect ratio, and until I feel like it looks cool. It doesn't have to, I mean, match perfectly, since it's kind of like, you know, on a UV texture. Clicking on the Move tool. So this looks like a good basis for my UV texture. Let's see if I have some logos that I could use. Like we could make a logo. See if they have some brushes here. Brush tool. And I guess these brushes are quite simplistic. I'm confused. It's definitely not as cool as Photoshop, but it's not bad either. So right click. Here we go. We have some options. What's this one? Round noisy marker. And here we have some big markers. I see. So only some markers like that. Only default brushes. I can't seem to load ABR file. Oh, we can actually get some ABR files to load from the computer. Okay, so I'm going to try to find some better brushes. Free Photoshop brushes, Brushstroke. We want something like a texture. Yes, texture. Kind of like scratches and stuff. There's stone, high resolution grunge, free download, perfect. No, not Shutterstock, close that. Alright, so it said it downloaded something, let's see, it should be, okay, so this is a zip file, I'm gonna unzip this, go in here, it should be ABR files, awesome. This is a preview, which we could look at, cool. So let's try that in our fake Photoshop. I'm going to say brush, I'm on brush, right click, here, load ABR, and I'm gonna select the ABR file from here, boom. Alright, brush added, so now I have to switch to it. Awesome, look, it's working. So I can download and add some scratchy stuff, and yeah, that looks cool. It's a little bit too big maybe, so I undo, right click, oopsie. Brush size is 4000, that's quite big. I'm going to scale this down maybe to half. No, 2000. Okay, so that should be okay. Boing. So now this was directly added onto the stainless steel texture and it kind of looks blurry, so I'm going to undo that one more time. I'm going to add a new layer here, new layer. I'm going to add this onto a new layer like that, boom. Maybe it's still scaled up a bit too big, maybe it's fine. Some other ones, right click, it's also quite big. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nice, boom. I don't want to see those outlined lines. Okay, so I'll do this instead. That is kind of nice. Right click. What are these? I really have a lot of cool looking ones. Boom. Okay, maybe I'll make a new layer. All right. This texture is out of control. Maybe not this one. Yep. You can of course also brush other parts on. Custom texture like this, boom. So maybe a little bit big. Let's make this smaller, say 2000. Alright, this looks cool. I think since I also want to maybe add a little bit of a color accents, I could now use the magic wand to quickly select some of those faces here on the texture. So click to select, let's say 1, 2, 3. This is the shift click to select multiple parts. Shift click. This is the magic wand tool. And then add a new layer. Go to fill. That is the bucket tool. I'm going to say paint bucket, and we'll fill this with some kind of accent color, some orange. Okay, and I'll click, boom. Nice. So the thing is, this is now probably looking a little silly. Also, what's now the background layer is the actual are the outlines, which we won't keep. We'll just keep the texture without those. It's just for us being able to orient, being able to see what goes where. And if I look back in my original texture here, paint, it says top here, and then the rest was at the bottom, and some side pieces. So it doesn't have to be so detailed and complicated. So if I say now the top of the wings should be orange, then that's super awesome. I'm going to deselect, Control D, and this can be a different blend mode, multiply, et voila, maybe a little bit less on the opacity to make it more like faded. Cool. In addition, we could add some double click outer glow drop shadows and stuff like that. See, outer glow looks like with a different color. Maybe I'll make this dark instead, like a dark glow, and this will be set to normal, and we're gonna say size. This is pretty cool for being available to us in the browser. Absolutely crazy. So I'm gonna make these a bit more visible, maybe add a little bit of noise. That looks kind of cool. And yeah, perfect. Now I'll say deactivate background. We still need kind of like some kind of thing for the windows. Let's see in here, just to see where our window would be sitting. It's on that part that's kind of split as well. So we could do something there where it says top, like a square impression for where the window is going to sit. So maybe I'll do a rectangle select. So I'm thinking up until here we could have some kind of box that goes around the window, and it doesn't have to be like a texture or something. I'll just make something using a fill. So this is the paint bucket again, paint bucket tool, and I'll make a new layer for that and fill that. So now the cool thing is I can actually, it doesn't matter what the color is. So Control D to deselect. I'm going to double click here. I'll go to the blending options. We can play with the opacity a bit, and I'm going to say the fill color should be different. Actually, we're going to do color overlay. Right, so we can do like a dark, that's perfect. I could have different blend modes on that, but maybe that doesn't matter. I kind of wanted to use, yeah, outer glow again, but this time without noise, to make it look smooth. The spread could be a little bit less, but giving us the impression that it's kind of like dipping in a little bit, or which is just an illusion. But then also on top of that I could have an outline. Where's that? I don't see it. Stroke, that's what they call it here. Okay, stroke, 3 pixels. This is set to black, why not? It could be black. And then we can change it to inside. Maybe not black, we'll make it a bit lighter in color, like a gray. Size, yeah, you can see, cool, kind of like a frame. Yeah, that looks cool. And one of the most hated Photoshop effects, bevel and emboss. So we can make it look like a platform, making it bigger in size. You can soften that or make it super hard. This one says smooth, we're going to say chisel hard. This is going up, we can also say go down, so it does the opposite. Maybe that's better. Size doesn't have to be too big. The angle should be not 30 degrees, it should be 90. And then, yeah, that's nice. Contour, we can add, boop, making this a curve. They don't have presets, I don't think. Let's see. Oh, they do actually. Boom. Awesome. Some of these contours to give the impression that it's like going down into some kind of opening, and then the window piece will sit on top of that. What else can we do? Oh, texture. We can add a texture on top of that. Maybe not this one. Oh, this one's good. Honeycomb. Make this a bit smaller. Depth. Ooh, can make this deeper. Okay, awesome. Cool. So now I'm going to play with the blend modes on that. Let's say darken. What's that? Multiply. No. Lighten. Wait, is this the right? Yeah, it is the right one. They don't really seem to affect this as much. Because I think I deactivated the fill. Oh no, I didn't. So it doesn't seem to do much because of the effects. This is what it looks like full at 100%. So let's say I want to, yeah, it doesn't seem to affect. I have to apply the effects if I want to filter that. Maybe I'll just do that. So right click. I could convert to smart object. Or I could say rasterize layer style. Let's do that. So now the effects are gone. It's actually baked into this this shape that I painted basically with the paint bucket. So I'm going to say multiply. So now the blend tools actually do something, and I can make something more blended into the background. Hard light. That's too hard. Vivid light. That kind of looks appropriate. Maybe if I lower the opacity a little bit. Oopsie. Zip. What do the other ones do? Pin light. Maybe pin light is better. I can't make up my mind. Ooh, that is the difference. That's also nice. Subtract. No, too intense. Exclusion, soft light, hard mix. Oh, not good. Let's do color, dodge, no, linear burn. All right, I'm going to use the vivid light. And then opacity a little less. This stuff is the outline from the original texture, which would be gone. It would look something like this. I could add more details here. Maybe for these shapes here, I kind of want to put some kind of exhaust beam. So we could say, I'm gonna add another layer, making something very shiny. So I'll say magic wand, that's W, and I'll select on the background texture, click, shift click, shift click, shift click, shift click, shift click, shift click, and that'll be my selection. I'm going to say a new layer, and we're going to fill this with some kind of blue, light blue, zip, okay, and G is paint bucket, boom. So layer 7, I'm going to deselect, Control D. Now double click. This will have a outer glow, boom, but it has to be very light, might as well be white. Yeah, that's what I mean. And I'm going to do an inner glow as well, just full on. Where's the inner glow? I don't even see it. Not inner shadow. Oh, outer glow. Inner glow. There we go. Boom. This is a little yellowy. I guess it's okay. Let's make it size-wise a little bit bigger. Wow. Okay, that's pretty awesome. So now if I deactivate those outlines on this texture, it really looks kind of interesting. I could add more details. I think I wanted to create some kind of logo. I'm not sure what to put. I could make a vector symbol. Let's draw something with the custom shape tool. We're going to make a spaceship logo, custom shape tool. I'm clicking once so you can kind of see a preview. But I think this custom shape is not what I wanted to do. It does a triangle. Okay, so the triangle is here. The shape can be selected up there. I don't see any other shapes, but yeah, that's awesome. So the shapes, oh, I see. So there's custom shapes in here. That's perfect for us. Look at all these shapes. That's awesome. Food, beverage. So we can easily make a logo that's custom. This looks kind of cool. So now this is a shape layer. I'm not sure if I like that. Oh, to be on the same layer, it doesn't do it in the same layer. So this was the first triangle one. I'm gonna deactivate this one, and then instead I'll use this as my spaceship symbol. It looks kind of sciencey and amazing. And then yeah, I can put it on the wing. Maybe I'll duplicate this. So Control J used to be copying layers, and it's still the same even in this online version of Photoshop, Photopea. And yeah, we can put the logo, should probably mirror this or at least rotate. Okay. So aligning two things together, so I'm selecting both. They are not perfectly aligned, so I could now say align selection at the top, and that makes more sense. Perfect, that's the one of these buttons. Yeah. Just making sure it is actually in the folder. The folder has some kind of layer mode. Yes, okay, so it does seem to work. Bin light. Okay, I think it's going to be okay. I'm just going to use that as my texture. This is now saved. When you do Control S, it saves it as a PSD file, so that's awesome. I can use it in Photoshop as well. But if I want to send it out as a PNG file, I would have to go here, File, Export as PNG, and then it's going to ask me to check the format options here, PNG. We don't want to, I guess we don't need transparency, so that's not something I can control here anyway, so yeah, it's fine. So save. This is my spaceship new PNG file. Cool. And then I can basically close this. I'll keep it in the background in case I need to go back and change something. Now I'm going back to Blender. So here, instead of using this texture, which is assigned, I can now add the new one, which is kind of like uploading it to your file. So we're going to go to shading, and I'll delete the texture paint here from my image texture node or box, and I'm going to say open. In my downloads I had the let's say date modified, boop, to find the texture file. Nope, it's probably at the very bottom. In that case, spaceship new PNG, open image. Wow! And since it was already connected to base color, now look at that, it looks awesome. Cool. There's the beam at the end. There could be more details here, but you can also kind of see this is overlapping. That had to do with the way I used the mirror modifier, so this is a bit strange, but in the end, who cares? It looks awesome. I can make this thing fly in the browser and it's a custom spaceship. So now it's all about exporting it to the right format. I'm going to make sure I'll save this. We can go to viewport shading. This is what it looks like when it's being rendered, and it's super cool. Yay. Now make sure you select your object. I'm going to now save it out, File, Export, and we're going to do GLTF. There's other ones as well. I think we could try OBJ, but the OBJ is really giant in terms of file size, so the GLTF should be fine. We're going to click on the GLTF one. Now we're changing it from the binary one to GLTF separate and textures, and that's all we have to change right now. This is saving to my desktop as spaceship new GLTF, so export. Boom.
Chicken noodle code.